Hey there.
All right, we're live. So, hello, NuPIC, and welcome to Sprint Planning. We're planning Sprint 30. It's September 5th, 2014. Let's jump right in. I am currently looking at the open PRs. I think these are all open PRs. There's one in the backlog that I'm waiting for Mark to look at, but other than that, none of these are too old except for this anomaly modular PR, which Mark says is ready once again for review. I signed that to Scott, I believe, to take a look at. It's not a huge PR, but there are changes. It doesn't touch a whole lot of files. The other ones are just this one is brand new, that moving to C++11. And one's a content change for Numenta.org. I may or may not merge. I'm still reviewing that. And then another about C++ tests. So, historically, I think we're still doing pretty well on keeping or closing PRs pretty quickly. So there's 6 open, but that's not awful, I don't think. So. All right, let's look at issues in Sprint 29. This is the sprint we're closing out. I'm not going to talk about the priorities right now. That's a discussion for maybe a future meeting. And I'll talk a little bit about potential plans to move to another process at the end of this meeting. But I am going to, I've broken this out into tickets by person. So at least I would like to go over these for the people that are attending the meeting right now. So I know Chayton is there. Chayton, you don't have any assigned issues for the current sprint. You've closed all your issues for the current sprint, so that's good. David's not online, but I did want to go over. He's got a couple issues. One is renaming some files, which I'm pretty certain he's not going to have time to do. So I'm going to pull that off to the backlog. The other one, which is the implementation factory move, region impl factory move, I've still got that marked as a higher priority, so I would like to keep this one in and move it to Sprint 30. I don't know whether he's going to have time to work on that or not, but we'll see. I'm trying to encourage him to continue work on that. I don't remember this guy's name, sorry, but he was working on some documentation tasks, so I think he doesn't I don't think there are PRs open for these, are there? No. But one was to write a little doc string checker, like a utility for development to make sure that Python source files have doc strings, and then just adding more documentation to CLA model. So I think I'll probably move both of these over into Sprint 30 since he's assigned him. He's taken on those when I try and keep him engaged. This is David Ray. David Ray is working on the Java port, so he's got several issues open right now, working on that Java port. I'm not going to talk too much about those, but I'm helping him manage that project. Jay has an issue for documentation updates. This is a PR that I think is ready to merge, but no other open issues. So Subutai, I added your ticket to move the private research code into the NuPIC.research repo. So that's already in Sprint 30.
Okay, thank you.
These other tickets are just sitting in the backlog, so if you need something to do, you can grab one of those. I think that you reported these two. Okay, to Utensil, he's disengaged a bit lately, but we've still been talking about C++ unit tests and the style for those tests. So he's still assigned a couple of things, and he has been working on getting a Windows build working. So they're still actually continuing work on that build support for Windows, which is nice. So we'll see how that goes. They've got some stuff working, but there's still more progress to make. Scott Purdy, let's look at just Sprint 29. So you still are assigned several tickets, and let's run through them real quick and make sure that those are still things you plan on working on the coming sprint. Do you see anything in here that doesn't ring a bell or that you don't think you're going to work on? Aside from there. Is Scott there?
No, Scott's on vacation.
Scott's on you.
Oh, that explains a lot. Okay. Forgot about that. Okay, so I'll just probably pop these over into Sprint 30. I won't make you watch me do that right now, one by one. Brev probably isn't here, but he has taken on a few issues here and there, which is nice. He asked me to give him a couple things for him to work on in his free time. So I've got him a couple of small issues assigned. He can grab those if he has time. I'll probably move this one over. It's just one for the wallboard that annoys me that he could probably help with. Jeff, thanks for attending, but you let me know that you're probably not going to have much time to work over the next sprint, so I'll probably just move this one to the backlog.
Yeah, sorry. The next couple of months are looking really booked for me.
That I understand. So yeah, Jeff just had a new baby too, so that might have contributed to his lack of time.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, Austin. I think you still have at least one ticket. Yeah, the NuPIC core can be built as a shared library.
It's a little hard to read the details.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, it's a pretty large.
Yeah,
oh, there we go.
I think I'm actually back off on that one.
Okay.
I didn't get it done, but there's some more refactoring I think that needs to be done to CMA before. I think that's a viable task.
Okay, that makes sense. If you identify specific refactorings that should be done, would you create tickets for them?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to pull this out onto the backlog again then for now. And as you identify new tickets, just go ahead and create them and then assign them to yourself and put them in the right sprint. Okay, this is Jim Bridgewater. He is working on this compatibility check. So he's not online, but I think that work is continuing. My issues. I've got a bunch of stuff, and these are all backlogs. Let's filter. Some web content. There's a couple of old bugs like this problem running Python unit tests that I'm just stuck on. I think this is a 32-bit problem, but I'm not certain. I'll probably I've been skipping this along from sprint to sprint and not making much progress on it. But no one is really complaining at the moment, so it only affects a couple of people that I can tell, and I think they're all using 32-bit systems. I'm not certain how important this is, but I am going to keep it open, and I'll keep it on my plate. I've got some a wiki bug or a wiki enhancement to make. I'm still planning on making this tertiary OSX build process, although I'm blocked on that because Travis has put me on a wait list. Apparently the OSX build feature has become popular enough that it's not immediately accessible to people who request it. This issue for NuPIC tools is really annoying, and I'm going to fix it as soon as I can. It's basically if a repository doesn't have a Travis build, it immediately gets marked by NuPIC tools as needing a merge, and it invalidated for no reason. If I manually revalidate it, it's fine. So it's a bug. I also have a tool that's got a problem that I logged, but it's not super important. The final report on the season of NuPIC 2014, and then we've got this big, what I call a super issue of pip install NuPIC. I've broken this out into a bunch of subtasks, one of which is complete. But this requires a lot of work, and I think correct me if I'm wrong, Austin, but I think you might have time to help with this in the coming month or so.
Okay.
Okay. So you
vaguely, I'll be working on it. I don't have any specific plans.
Okay. Feel free to change any of these issues, rearrange this thing. If you want to own this ticket, you are very welcome to own this ticket and make the changes that are necessary. But try and keep the tasks as granular as you can. This is kind of my vision of what needs to be done, and it could be entirely wrong. Okay. Okay. So assuming that everything else that for everyone's issues that are currently in Sprint 29 will be moved to Sprint 30. We'll still have a nice chunk of work in Sprint 30. There's already a few issues here in Sprint 30, some of which I might pull out when I clean up a little bit, but yeah, nothing major. So some of this is we're going to be trying to move our builds to C++ 11, so there's going to be some tickets on that. Still some work on getting the pip install NuPIC working. A lot of these are those, and build stuff. So yeah, these are both for the pip install. We need to be creating binaries and putting them somewhere that they can be downloaded by pip. And a couple of things like PySept should not be called PySept anymore because sept no longer exists. So once that name change is made, we'll have to make changes to any dependy projects that use that project. But I think that's about it. Does anyone have any questions about issues before we talk quickly about sprint process?
Yeah, I think there was a. Caden had a question about PySept.
I only see the issue for updating the.
Yeah, if you go.
Training.
Yeah, there's one at the bottom I saw. Yeah, the second from the bottom.
Is there a question? Sorry.
No. Yeah, it got answered.
Okay. All right. So I sent an email this morning with kind of a proposal for a process change for sprint planning to make it more or less like sprint planning and more of just a prioritized backlog of tickets that anybody can grab and take a ticket. So I'm hopefully it will simplify our backlog of tickets and make it easier to identify what's important to work on and what's not. So we might change our process a bit. I'm still waiting on feedback from the community. Most people have said, sure, that sounds great, or they don't care, which is fine. But the upshot is we would still have bi-weekly meetings. They wouldn't necessarily be called sprint planning meetings. We might call them a progress review or something like that, where we at least can see the state of development of what we've got done and the chunks of work that we're planning. Another repercussion would be that what we're calling sprints, which are milestones in GitHub, we wouldn't use as sprints. They wouldn't be time boxes for issues to fall into. It would actually be, categories. For example, all the pip install stuff we're trying to do, that would be a milestone. So any issue that contributes to that goal defined by the milestone would be tagged with that. So it might make things a little bit clearer using the milestone category for something more like a milestone and less like a sprint. So if you want more details on that, check the NuPIC Hackers mailing list. I am looking for feedback. I'm not changing the process immediately, but I've been thinking along those directions for a while to provide priorities for tickets and then have a simple view where people can see a stack rank of tickets and pick the most important ones off the top that they have the skill set and motivation to work on.
It seemed like a good proposal to me. I think it might fit the flow of what you're doing much better than the previous way of doing it.
Yeah, I find myself with a lot of overhead moving from sprint to sprint, even with the tooling I've put in place. Yeah. And a lot of it's just, it doesn't really necessarily matter what I mean, we have a big a chunk of work that we're trying to do, and every 2 weeks we just move stuff to the next chunk, and then whatever doesn't get done, we move to the next time box. So I think it might be more efficient just to have one stacked backlog items that we just pull out and work on.
Yeah.
So that's sort of the plan.
Like you said, people from the community can come in at any point and just pick things in, and that'll get included in the current whatever into the to-do items. So.
Right. So we'll still have the biweekly meeting, so we can talk at least, and I think that's useful because the community can see that, and they can see what we got done every 2 weeks and what we're planning on doing, and I think that's really necessary in a project like this.
Yeah, and I think that these meetings can become a little more strategic in nature also. Rather than looking at individual issues, you can be looking at the level of milestones and what we're really trying to accomplish rather than, ticket by ticket.
Yeah.
I think sometimes the forest gets lost for the trees in that framework.
Yeah, that's a really good point. So I feel the same way, and I think it will make our process smoother and more efficient, and it'll get us discussing things that are more important at these meetings rather than just discussions of each ticket and the status of each ticket. So that was quick, but I am done. Does anybody want to talk about anything while we're all in the same room?
Do we have a topic for the office hour?
The office hour. No, we don't have a topic. I don't even remember when it is, honestly.
It's Monday.
It's Monday. Yes, it is Monday. That's a good point. We should have a topic for the office hour. I guess, do any of you have a topic for the office hour besides maybe ongoing algorithmic work? We could talk about NuPIC research, potentially.
And Jeff, you get first dibs since you're here. What would you like us to talk about?
Oh boy, geez. I don't know.
Putting you on the spot.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm at a loss right now. If anything comes to me, I can send a suggestion.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, maybe we'll just send an email to the list and ask what people think. That's generally what I do.
Well, maybe the latest thing is the geospatial encoder, and how do you work with that, possibly? I don't know.
Yeah, there is a lot of interest in that. So we put out the video, but it's a really interesting encoder, I think, and we could have Chaitan talk about that and take questions about how it works and potential applications. That's not a bad idea.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I'll propose that as an idea to the list and see if people are interested. Otherwise, I think we are done. So thanks, guys, for joining in, and we'll talk later.
Okay.
Thank
Cheers.
You. Cheers.
Cheers.